How's it going, everybody? Uh, for those of you who are listening and not watching, I am holding up in front of the camera a bottle of peanut butter whiskey. And now I am holding up to the camera a bottle of Godiva chocolate liqueur. And if you were a part of the last interview, if you heard it, you would have known that I interviewed Tim Delaney, the owner of Elmo Wine and Liquor, and he had said that the biggest seller, the alcohol version of toilet paper, the things you can't get off, keep on the shelf, is peanut butter whiskey that then you mix with the chocolate liqueur. So I am now pouring the peanut butter whiskey, and I'm going to get the chocolate liqueur. Now pour some of that in there. Not sure how much, but mix it up. Using a chopstick to mix it up because I had nothing else to mix it with. And now, let's give it a try. Oh my. You know what? I'll leave that for the others. Whoever wants to run and get that peanut butter whiskey, you don't have to worry about pushing me out of the way. Wow. Well, again, I want to thank Tim Delaney from Elmo Wine and Liquor for our last interview. And today we have Neil Carroll, the owner of Vidwheel. And the great thing about today, I already changed my lighting. It was part of this impromptu audio-visual webcam assessment that I got from Neil Carroll, because that's what he does. He understands that there's a lot of people who are now doing what I'm doing, getting in front of a camera because it's the only way that we can meet. And he is doing assessments at no cost. He's coaching. He's doing these assessments because that is what he does. And you're going to learn a lot more about the do's and the don'ts right after this. So hope you enjoy it.
Looks like actually.
I am good. Neil Carroll. I'm here with Neil Carroll from Vidwheel, and Neil's already asking me how's my video and sound, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Neil. Why don't you explain who you are and what Vidwheel is?
Yeah. So I'm Neil. I started Vidwheel is in its current version a video production and strategy company. So we try to help companies with their video production needs if they already know what they need. But we also try to get into businesses and help them use video in different ways to make their business more efficient, make it smarter. So we'll do the usual marketing stuff, but we'll also we have video podcasts that we're producing for clients. We have one of our own. We have training videos. We've done recruiting videos, kind of internal communication type videos. So you can go deep, right, with that kind of using video as a medium if you want to, right? If you have the desire to do that. So.
How many people, how many employees do you have?
So we technically have two employees, myself and Barack, our video production specialist, and then we have a sales guy who's full time, but technically 1099. So for legal reasons, I cannot call him an employee.
Right, sure. So. Have you had to make any adjustments?
Well, yeah, in the short term during what the kind of shutdown that's going on now, it's had quite an impact on what we're able to do as a business, because so much of what we were doing was traveling to places, shooting, getting in front of people, shooting, going to events with lots of people, shooting. So no people means we can still do the post-production work, and we're trying to finish up some of the projects that had started, but we're not able to kind of move a lot of stuff forward. Adjustments. I've taken a 50% pay cut myself, and part of that is that I also have a lot. My availability has become somewhat reduced because I'm on kid duty during the week because we've got two kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, that are home every day now, and my wife has a more traditional job. So us having less to do, not really being able to do business as usual, puts me in that spot, which is tough because then any of these pivots and like let's figure it out type things are tough. And then other reductions. So my production guy we've kept pretty full, but as production slows down, there'll be a bit of an organic reduction there. It's just an hourly worker. And then my sales guy is he's got a monthly retainer, but it's very much eat what you kill. And if the hunting's not good, then in terms of a pay reduction, that just kind of happens,
Yeah.
I guess.
So your business model right now, you're not following the traditional business model. You can't at this point.
No. So what we've tried to do is we've started exploring different ways of recording, right? Mm-hmm. So we have a project that I'm hoping will go through that would be a really good case study in kind of ultimately bringing the studio to the people who need to be interviewed. It would ultimately be a really simple, I can walk you through it on a Zoom meeting type video setup. And then the people on the spot, I'll, conduct an interview like we often do for a lot of our videos, and the people on the spot will be recording themselves in interview format. So we're going to try that out. That should give us some high quality interview footage, and we'll see if we can make it happen. And then the other thing we're trying to do, sorry, my chair was letting go a little there, is we've started really trying to embrace webcam shooting, because that is what everyone's kind of been pushed to, like it or not, right now. So I am offering up a free coaching session to people to kind of, look at their setup, give them suggestions of things that might make you sound better, make you come across better, make your production look a little more professional. And then we're going to have a video series built around that too. And we're starting to try to move some of our simpler productions over to that format. So we've got people who were, shooting talking heads in studio, and they can, shoot them via webcam and not get an interruption in their content. So
excellent. And you said you already have that webcam where we could go to it right now?
So it's the coaching session right now is I get on a Zoom call with somebody and we walk through it for 20 minutes. I fill out an assessment. It sends an email out to them with all the info that we discussed. A video version and video kind of series built around it is in the works. So we'll probably have something released on Monday. I don't know when this gets released, but that would be the 30th
of March.
If it all comes together, right? So
very good. What are some of the do's and the don'ts if since we're all sort of here in our own homes, and we're kind of forced? There's a lot of my clients who for the first time ever were using Zoom or some other video conferencing and all of that. What are the pros and cons? What have you seen that's working and what isn't?
I've got a number one thing, right? And the number one thing that people need to do is don't be afraid of the camera, right? So like a lot of folks, and I show this in the web video that we do, you'll see them like way back from the camera. You're not filling in much of the screen. And the one thing I bring up in the video that we're producing is think about what that looks like in that Zoom meeting where you've got feed of 10 people down the side. People aren't even going to, people won't be able to recognize you. It's just, it's not a good look. And then the other piece is you're further away from a lower quality kind of video cam, which ultimately webcams are almost no matter what. They don't have the sharpest lenses, and the mics that they have are they're okay, but they're not as good as, like, say, not everybody's sporting a Blue Yeti like you have there, Tony.
Oh,
So.
you know what it is. I love that.
So,
well, hey, Neil, I've worked with you enough to know some of the do's and don'ts.
yeah. So, but that solves a lot of those problems, right? So if you just get close to the camera, fill your frame, it helps with the video quality. It helps with the audio quality. It helps you, be recognizable in those meetings. And the other thing it can do, and I've been pointing this out on all my like Zoom calls, is it hides a lot of stuff behind you. So I've got like a chair that's fraying, but if I'm filling the frame, you can't really tell. I've got liquor bottles and clutter behind me.
Nice.
But if you're filling the frame, you can't see all that stuff. So there you go. There's several good reasons to just move closer to your camera. That's number one tip, right?
Yeah, that's a good tip. In fact, a lot of people have been asking me about that picture back there.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
To some, it's they want to know. It's funny how like anything in your background, people find you find that they're distracted by it and they want to know more about it. Well, that type of thing.
Yeah, and that's something we go over on the video coaching session too. Like, I would say you have an appropriate amount of stuff in the background, right?
Nice.
Like, you want to have a little something.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
You give me an A+. I love it.
Well, we'll do the assessment after the call.
Okay.
I'll send you your assessment.
I gave me an A+.
Yeah, right. Yeah. My scale is 0 to 3. So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But like you want to have at least a little something, because like having nothing at all is just as distracting as having just stuff everywhere. And the other downside of having nothing at all back there is, once again, if you're sporting a good mic, it's not as much of an issue. But especially with a webcam camera, if you're using that built-in camera mic, you can get a lot of echo from a room that just doesn't have anything in it, right? So it's a balance. You want to have enough in your space, but yeah, I mean, I like your picture. I think it gives you a talking point. So
well, there you go, and I'll give you the rest of the story too, because people have been asking. It is a fake Picasso, so that's a Picasso, and there's this place online that years ago when I first moved into the house, there's a factory basically of people in China that paint over and over the same exact painting again and again. And so I have a whole bunch of these fake famous paintings all over my house, but it's real oil paint.
Right. I've heard of that place. I think there has there been like a PBS special or something on like that?
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't in Wuhan, by the way. Who knows?
That's a recent issue over there, but
that's true.
or everywhere, I guess, right now. But yeah, that's cool. That's very cool, and I've heard of that. That's I need to get my hands on some. I've got no artwork behind me.
Yeah, no, but you do have liquor behind there.
We've got liquor back there hidden, and the books. I let people see the books, and I hide the liquor. I don't know what that says about.
There you go. The you had mentioned the echo and just some of the poor sound quality. What are the best tips to help with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, number one, get close to your mic, and then number two is I put in this coaching, video, and we talk about it. Is really anything that breaks up big flat surfaces can help. So even if it doesn't seem like a piece of furniture that's going to make a big difference, it's going to help a little. But a couch in the room is always good. A
Mhm.
rug on the floor is always good. And when it like, if you want to get hacky, and I like doing, well, you know, way back when we did our podcast, I'm going to say way back, it was 6 months ago or
Mm.
something. But do you remember I had those comforters on light stands that were going to help with the sound dampening, right? So
Yes, yes.
you can go as low tech as that. If you have a comforter around the house that you could drape over a card table or a dining
Mm.
room chair and put it in your vicinity, that can help a lot with sound, especially with you know these uh, webcam mics that we're all using now. So
Yeah, yeah. So, what are you using? What, because you sound pretty good. I guess I wouldn't expect anything less.
I've got the little brother of that Yeti mic
Mm.
right now. It's the blue snowball mic, which is
Nice.
the version that doesn't have any settings or anything. This was a bit of a I don't know, an oh no, we'll say, purchase when this was all going down, and I was
Mm.
like, I don't even have a USB mic that I
No
can
kidding.
use.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I haven't. I typically yeah, I don't do a lot of this stuff. So I actually have a box of 5 of those Yetis that's sitting at the UPS shipping facility, which that we're bringing in because we are trying to equip clients and so
Mm.
on with the best gear possible for these kind of webcam shoots when we as we're starting to get them going. So anyway, I've got the blue snowball. It's a $50, similar technology version to the Yeti, and I think it does pretty well. It's just you don't get to decide any of the settings or anything.
Yeah, which you
So,
don't need for this
but
type of
oh,
stuff.
I think yeah, your majority of people probably be just as good off with this mic as something more expensive. So
Yeah. So, this could go on. We're all sort of in the dark when it comes to how long this whole coronavirus situation will last. Um, are you prepared as a company to manage that, and how long are you anticipating? What are you thinking?
well, honestly, especially going off of your recession podcast, which I listened to
Thank
well
you.
before all this went down. Uh, I was working toward the setup that you recommended there in terms of cash reserves and stuff. But we went through a little bit of a growth period in terms of staff and so on, from just myself to we moved up to we had 4 people on staff, and then kind of have moved back down to this 3-person model, and accumulated some debt that we were and are paying down in the process. And it's we were pushing a lot more cash towards trying to take care of that
Hmm.
um, than would have been probably recommended if we knew this was coming. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
sure, sure.
So we're scrambling. We're trying to get some stuff taken care of. I don't, we may have to kind of refi some of the debt and so on, but we're good for a bit here, and we're trying to find new ways to generate revenue. I guess seeing a path where we're able to get back to what we were able to kind of produce and bill um, prior to all this going down, assuming it's a longer term situation, is still a bit it's a bit foggy, right?
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
I don't know necessarily that we can get where we were, and we kind of have to continue on as the business was before. So we've got to either figure that out or kind of adjust accordingly, I guess, in terms of business size and so on. So
Yeah, yeah, I could, I'm telling my clients that they should assume 3 months that this
yeah.
is going to happen, and it really is unfortunate what we're seeing in the country right now, because it seems like every state has their own plan. It's really not centralized, so it just appears as if we're going to see different states are going to peak at different times, and it's just going to kind of prolong the whole thing, and
Yeah. Yeah,
that makes it
that's
very hard to determine when this thing is going to be over.
well, and then the other thing for us, because our bread and butter is marketing, and unfortunately that's often
Mm.
first budget to get cut and a last budget to come back on, is
Mm-hmm.
I'm anticipating, even if it ended today, I would anticipate a 3 month hangover,
Yes.
just in terms of our buying cycles and getting people back up and at them. So yeah, we're trying to find other avenues,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those other avenues are this webcam production type stuff. We're going to try out this kind of shipped in-home studio that could be an interesting way forward.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess it's like a lot of other things. One of the downsides of our business plan has been that it's very localized, right? Like, all our clients are Buffalo based. We don't have much of an opportunity to work with people outside of the area, um, because you often need a person on the ground to execute. Um, if we can sort out a good way to create high quality video without a person on the ground to execute, I think it does open up a lot more client opportunity for us. So what we're trying to open that door,
Well,
so
I like the way that you're thinking, like many business owners, very entrepreneurial. And I agree. I think this could be an opportunity for you and Vidwheel, because I think people will take far more seriously the importance of just this setting, being home and having a basically a working video office setting, and you could probably create a business model around that. And I like that I'm already hearing that you're thinking that way.
yeah. Well, and it's a total mindset shift too,
Mhm.
because a lot of I guess the dollar amounts and so on, or dollar amounts end up being like, nobody's going to pay $5,000 to get their Zoom studio set up properly, or that type of thing. It's so, like, instead of we need X number of good sized video projects to make a year, it's going to be more like we need 10, 20, 30 times that in
Yeah.
terms of webcam clients. So that's the challenge on our end, is trying to sort a lot of that out. But I don't know, that that that's our job now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, well, that's all we can do, right? Is to work with what we have in front of us, and it's good to hear that that's what you're doing, because I think again, this will end, and we will get through this, and we will have some form of normalcy coming back,
Sure.
and it'll be a combination of what we had and what we're learning today. Um,
Yeah.
and as long as you're willing to make those adjustments, there's a lot of great opportunity on the other side, because not all the businesses will survive.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? You go into survival mode here, and when we come out on the other end, if we've been able service the clients uh, that 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 we have been before this, and can kind of work with them through this, I think, there should be plenty of opportunity. But yeah, it's just getting to the other side in one piece, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is you know, I I uh I I don't know what to think of that yet, right? We haven't tapped that new resource in terms of revenue and stuff, and we'll have to see if it exists. So
Yeah, sure. Also, you're an avid fan of disc golf.
yeah,
We played a little bit of that.
yes.
Is that, do you feel that that's COVID-19 friendly? Can
I
we
I
go
think
out there and play?
yeah. I would like to say it is. I would have to check with my wife. She's in charge of what is acceptable and is not during this time of uncertainty, we'll say. And just to add another layer to checking in on that, that would mean that she's got to deal with the cooped up kids for
Mm.
a 2 or 3 hour span. And so yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that. But I feel like we could keep 6 feet
Oh,
of
easily.
distance. I
By
mean,
the,
maybe
by the,
around the basket we have to make some adjustments of, you know, of who's far, and take your shot and clear out before I do mine. But I
I
think
think
you
it's
can make that
doable.
work.
I
I
think
think
it's
you can make
doable.
it work.
The
So
way I throw it sometimes, trust me, I'll be more than 6 feet
yeah,
away.
yeah. If you hook when I slice, I think we're
Oh
in
my
good
goodness.
shape, right?
You know what? No problem on my part. I can make that happen. I can certainly make that happen. So
Have
yeah, we definitely have to get together for that.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to get out and do something like that. I'll tell you, like 2 weeks of this homebound isolation, my new career as a preschool teacher kind of
Mm.
thing is it feels long, Tony. Feels like it's
Yes.
been a long, long time. So
Yes.
if
Yes.
we've got another, what is it, 10 weeks of this, if it could be a 3 month thing or something, then I think everybody's going to come out in a different mental state too, so
No doubt.
hopefully it makes everybody just so happy to see each other and so nice to each other and kind, and it could be a good thing, right?
I think
And
so. I think once we get through this, it'll be a lot of happy people and a pretty big
yeah,
party too, I think.
right. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, even for just your business acquaintances and so on. Right? There'll be a
Right
lot
on.
of lot of
Right on.
lot of happy people, even for that person you've only met once. Right? So yeah,
No,
that kind of thing.
no doubt
But
about it. No doubt about it.
right.
Um, well, Neil, if you could, we could just go back for a second. Some of the tips is don't be afraid of the camera,
Don't be
and
afraid of the camera. Get right up in its face. Fill the frame. That's the phrase. That's the term I keep using. Fill the frame.
fill
Don't
the
be
frame.
afraid to fill the frame, because it helps with audio. It helps with video. It helps with clutter. Like, it helps with a lot of the stuff that people are struggling with right now. And oh, you know what? I was gonna I was gonna bring up one more thing,
Yeah,
quality
sure,
wise, Tony.
sure
I
thing.
want to show you something real quick on screen. This is a cheap piece of equipment that we are recommending for a lot of folks. So I've got French doors back there that throw a lot of light and can really like blow out the side of my face. But I've got a ring light here that's
Mm.
a $26 Amazon buy that I highly recommend, because this is the other look. Ready? So you start to get into like that type of thing. Obviously, my camera didn't keep up with it, but you can get a lot of, like, on a sunny day, it gets super hot over here, and if I have the overhead on over here, it gets real weird. And $26,
Wow.
right?
Yeah,
It
you know
it
what?
makes a huge difference.
That's great
So
advice, because we got video, we got some sound advice, and we got the lighting advice. And you know what? That's probably the area that I see most often isn't correct, is the lighting.
lighting can be tough, and it's just one of those things where, your average person can really wrap their head around the video and the sound, and I say fill the frame, and that makes sense, right? But lighting it's just it you
It's
have to think
tricky.
about it a little bit differently. And the French doors that I love, to have all this natural light coming in here when I'm working, all of a sudden it's like, well, I got to do something about that, right? Right, you got to adjust based on it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I'll shoot you a link to this, that
Thank
ring
you.
light, if you want to put it in the show notes,
Yeah,
and kind of
please.
roll from there.
Please do. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how do we do that?
Yeah. Well, you can go to our website. We'll have more kind of video content around this whole make your webcam as high quality as possible. It's coming out. It'll probably start to come out, like I said, on Monday. Um, and the website is vidwheel, .com. So vidwheel.com. And then my direct email address is neil at vidwheel.com. And feel free to reach out to me. You know, we have those free webcam coaching sessions. I've actually got one this evening. Somebody signed up from Abu Dhabi, so we're doing them
Nice.
internationally
You
at the
are
moment.
worldwide. I love it. I
So,
love it.
so yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's something that people are appreciating the opportunity to just kind of like run those things through. The one thing I am finding is that a lot of the people that are willing to sign up are maybe not the people who need it the most. So,
Mm.
if you see a friend who could really use it, you could maybe tactfully, you know, say,
Great idea. Great
say
idea.
maybe this is a good idea. And Tony, whether you want one or not, I'm going to fill out an assessment for
Please.
your thing, and
Please.
I'll send it over to you. All
Yeah,
right.
please do. I'd
And
love
this'll
to.
this'll count as our coaching session. It was a live coaching session almost.
Live. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I
So
appreciate that. I'm always trying to improve. Um, Make sure you ask your wife if you could play some COVID friendly disc golf.
yes, I
And
will do that.
because I'm starting to get a little itchy myself. And here we've been talking to Neil Carroll, the owner of Vidwheel. And Neil, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And for all the great advice today.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks for having me on, Tony.
All
And
right.
you were on my podcast a while back, so maybe I'll give that a little new life on LinkedIn and stuff
All
too.
right.
Right?
Let's do that.
All right, man.
Take care.
All right. Yeah. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. As I was ready to shut it down with Neil, we started talking about the coaching, and I said to him, well, what I should have done, if I were actually good at this, I would have just asked him to do the coaching live so that you get an idea of what it's like, since he's given me some tips already. And so I thought, you know what, I'll bring it back. I'll get the recording going. And Neil, why don't you just finish the coaching, if you wouldn't mind, and just tell me what you see that I can improve.
Yeah. So I am going to go ahead and I'll bring up the doc. What I'll tell people too is I fill out a form, which is really just a Google form, and it was a down and dirty way to get this set up and done in an easy way. So I fill out a form, put in your email address along with it, and it will get sent over to you. The one little weirdness about it is it's going to say thank you for filling out the form to you, and obviously you haven't filled it out, but that's going to come over. So what we do, or what I do, because I actually personally perform all these coaching sessions at this point, is talk about 4 different things that I'm going to call like kind of the pillars of the good video. And this applies to any video, but webcam especially is you can make a lot of improvements. So one is video. So video quality, like your webcam quality. So we didn't talk about this, but what kind of computer are you shooting on? You have a
An
MacBook?
Asus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good looking webcam. Sometimes it comes right down to your webcam could use some work, but that one looks good. Your positioning is pretty good. We talked about not being afraid to crowd the webcam. You could get in closer if you wanted. Audio we talked about, that would be the next area of assessment that we would go through. You've got the Blue Yeti, which is it's kind of industry standard USB mic. It's a good piece of equipment. You're not going to do a lot better than that. Not a lot of echo in the room. Works out really well. The third piece that we would go over is lighting, which is kind of the conversation we were having off air that we were talking about. So I showed off the ring light in our main recording there. But lighting is a tough one, and it's a piece that a lot of people, it's a little harder to wrap your head around, right? Because your average person doesn't really think about lighting, light color, all the bits and pieces that go along with it. So I don't have it turned on, but my overhead light has a tungsten hue to it. And if I turn that on and have the sunlight and I'm using my webcam versus I'm streaming on a GH5 here, which I can adjust color balance, but my Logitech webcam gets real confused by that if it happens, right? And I end up looking real blue or something like that. So recommendations for lighting is, if you have sunlight, the easiest thing to do is just face it, right? Like
Yeah.
take all that sunlight, let it be your light. I had a call with an assessment with somebody yesterday that had 2 windows behind their monitor, and they had good even light. The downside, of course, is you can't control the sun. So a cloudy day is going to look a little different than a sunny day. So yeah.
So are you saying that my lighting needs a little work?
So of your setup, the only thing I would recommend is you could do a little lighting work.
Now here's my thing, is that let me
show it
show
off.
you what I got here. Is that I already have the lighting. I got the ring there, but unfortunately the way this is set up is that I can't get it in front of me without really kind of tightening up. I'd have to move the whole desk further. I suppose I could squeeze in, but then it would be a little awkward.
Yeah. So on the base of that light, it has a threaded base, right? Like
Yes.
How is it mounted to your light stand?
It's a tripod type of thing.
Okay. So you've got a light stand, but the actual ring probably threads on with like this little guy. Yeah,
yes.
That's not in focus, but you get it. So like the ones that I'm ordering, and I can send this to you in the mail if you want, Tony, but come with this little like kind of desktop tripod, and then it would give, with the attachment, it give you a little bit of lift. You could probably put it right behind your computer with something like this, right? And like takes up.
Can you show yours?
Yeah, I will show you mine. So I'm going to have to switch cameras to show my rig. My rig is hacked together, but, it is the kind of thing I have a tendency to do. So I'm switching over. This is my webcam with that same lighting. It's just on my monitor. So, there's the tungsten light. But this is how I have mine set up.
Oh, wow. So I've got the camera.
Yeah, that's my GH5, which is, I had the same issue where I have my tripod back there, but I can't put the GH5 on the plate for the tripod with its current configuration, because then it's too high over the monitor versus like right over the monitor there. So I've actually got my GH5 on a Gorilla Pod that is lashed on to the tripod down there.
Yep.
And then the ring light I have set off to this side of the lens purposefully, because I get a lot of fill from this side on the because of the French doors there.
Yeah, I like that. I
But
like that. You know what? I like
that's
the authentic nature of everything that you did here. I mean, you're just basically just piecing it all together, but you look great and you
well,
sound great.
I mean, you do what you have to these days, right? Like, uh, yeah, that's not an ideal setup, but that's where we ended up, and I think we can create some pretty good quality video with that in that space. So yes, lighting wise, uh, if you have the ring light and you can't get it behind the desk, um, there are, I might recommend a real small desktop tripod, or on Amazon you can find there's a lot of like the Gorilla arms. So same tech as that Gorilla Pod I have there, with a clip on the end, and you might be able to just clip it to your desk or to the laptop itself, and then just position that
Okay.
ring light.
All
So
right. Very good. You know what I'll
yeah,
do is I'll play around with it. I'll see if I can get it
get it back
behind
there.
me, because that
Yeah,
ideally would be the easiest approach, I suppose, with what I have. And then if not, I will consider one of those options that
yeah.
you offered. Well,
Give it a
Neil,
shot. Let me know.
thank you very much, Neil Carroll, Vidwheel.
Well, there
One
is
more
one
thing.
more part of the coaching. So last thing is staging, but we already talked about it with you, Tony. Your staging is great. Like, I like the picture. It's not too distracting, but that's the last piece of the assessment. And then I fill out the form and send it on out. And yeah, you should be. You're in pretty good shape. You have a good setup there. If
Thank you.
with that lighting tweak, you're gonna be as good as it gets in that home studio setup. So
Excellent. So not an A plus, but like an A minus. How about that?
yeah,
You know? I'll take it. I'll take it. All
So
right, man.
yeah. All
Neil, thank you
right.
so much. Neil Carroll, Vidwheel. I'm sure we'll be playing disc golf before we know it.
Yeah, I hope so. All
All right,
right,
man.
thanks,
Take
Tony.
care. Bye
Have
bye.
a good one. Bye bye.